seamless. Pretty sure there was about 4 seconds of us staring at the screen.
We will edit that out in post.
No, right. We'll make it up
problem.
in volume. But yeah, welcome back to the Eternal Baseball Podcast. I'm Mark Weber with my co-host, co-founder, and oldest friend, Brent Rotundi. We are here for your second season.
Good to be back. Good to be back.
Of Eternal Baseball. It's good to be back. It's the same old Eternal Baseball you know and love, but there are a couple tweaks, and every one of them an improvement, we think. So with new mic in hand.
Yes, I thought I put it as prominently as possible, just so everybody can notice my Black Friday microphone deal.
Product placement. It's always important.
Right, there we go.
helps pay the bills. Yeah, but we're back. We actually launched season 2 of Eternal Baseball this last Tuesday. And we like the Tuesday launch because we kind of fell into it for season 1. But it gives us that 3 days and then Friday off, which is when we belt out the Eternal Baseball newsletter, which you can sign up for free at eternalbaseball.com. And then we've got the games over the weekend. So there's always 2-3 game sets a week and games off on Fridays. So we like the cadence of that in season 1. And when we were originally looking at kicking off season 1, which was back in early February, we were looking at how long does the season run, would our season run, because we didn't want to step on the MLB playoffs, because we know that's when, people are really focused on Major League Baseball. And we found if we got it, the first one up and going in February, we can be out by September. And then we could all watch the MLB playoffs, which we did, in the World Series. And then we knew we would take some time off, but we wanted to be up and running by December 1st, just in case there was a lockout. And guess what? That's what we have. So without taking sides in the MLB fight that's going on right now, we just want you to know that if you like baseball and you don't have any baseball, you've got an option right here. So Eternal Baseball is here to help fill in the long, cold off season. And let's hope that things get settled in time for spring training, or at least time for the regular season, because we all love MLB. But until it's back, you might like Eternal Baseball. You never know. So here we are back at it. So a couple of the changes that happened, we're using the same software, and we always want to make sure we call them out, because we looked at a lot of different options, but it's Action with an exclamation point, PC Baseball from DK Sports. And anybody can run a league or play one of their preset leagues if you go to dksports.com. Eternal Baseball itself was a ton of work to put together. So we're not too worried about somebody copying what we're doing, because they'd have to have a lot of time on their hands to get this put together. We started our league on Tuesday, and we've played up through the day. Today's scoreboard and standings and such are up on our homepage. So we're going to play the first game of the Monday schedule. And we pretty much had any game we wanted to pick from. And Geyser, a new member of our message boards, again, at eternalbaseball.com, asked earlier in the week, how can you see a game played live? And I said, good question, my friend. We actually have the game of the week every week. And he's I think a Mets fan, or at least was posting on our Mets board. So we decided to give a shout out to Geyser, one of our new board members, and have his Mets. So we're going to have the Mets against the Rockies. And it might be a good one to get out of the way, because the Rockies are 0-5 to start the season. So
tough start.
Yeah. One thing we found, we simulated 10 seasons before we went live. And there is some variance year to year. That's one of the reasons why we like this sim so much. But one of the truths we found was that any team with 100 years of history to pull from, that talent pool is so deep that those teams hardly ever have a bad year. They're usually good, but they're always at least okay. And then you can flip that and it remains true. The less time your team has been around, the less talent they have to pull from. And those teams are usually bad, sometimes okay, but very rarely really good. But the shining star in one of our 10 seasons was the Texas Rangers, who are usually middling in those 10 sims, had a year where they could not be stopped. And that's one of the reasons we really like this sim, is that every player, every season, has their stat baseline altered. And it can be up to 30% better or 30% worse, depending on literally a roll of the dice. And that stat, that modifier, not only can't it be changed, it can't even be seen. There's nothing I can do to figure out who's hot and who's not for this upcoming season, except by watching games, reading box scores, and just knowing that that's not Sandy Koufax, right?
Can't even do a Freedom of Information Act request.
Nope, there's no way. These numbers have been
it's in some CIA dark site.
Sealed in a jar on Funkin' Wagnall's porch since noon today. No one knows the numbers here. But like looking at season 1, it was obvious. We kind of got a sense of everybody's numbers are down a bit from where they are. We take every player's 3 best consecutive seasons and average them. And then that's their statistical baseline for Eternal Baseball. But when we looked at how it was playing out, Sandy Koufax didn't have a good year in our first season. I mean, great players. Ted Williams hit like 285, right? Mickey Mantle had a bad year.
Absurd. I remember seeing that.
It's just the roll of the dice. And yet, DJ LeMahieu, no offense to DJ LeMahieu, but he hit 380 against the best pitchers of all time, all in their prime. So it was obvious he had a pretty good modifier going on his numbers. So you'll be able to figure it out just like we can as we move on. And that's where we always say, we'll never know a team better than their diehard fans. And if you're watching your team closely and you see that Tony Gwynn is hitting 250 in July, if we haven't noticed it, post it on our message boards and say, I love Tony Gwynn, but it's just not his year. Let's get Brian Giles some more at bats in that Padre outfield because he's white hot. All that stuff happens, and so the more feedback you give us, the more we can tell. And we've adapted the rosters at least 100 times based on fan feedback. As long as it's statistically based, if it holds water, we'll put it in. And a good example, absolutely, and a good example we did. Trying to see if I can bring it up here. We added a ton of players in the off season, and that's one thing that there's not a lot of turnover as far as rosters go because there's no trades, right? And people do get called up occasionally, but the numbers don't change for a retired guy. Their 3 best seasons are their 3 best seasons. But if you have a youngster who really turns it on, they can earn their way onto a roster or earn their way off of an inactive roster to an active roster. So that was another thing we did in the offseason was think about the MLB players who had absolute transcendent or breakout seasons this year. Your Shohei Ohtani's, your Vlad Guerrero's, Jesse Winker. Those kind of guys got their stats enhanced, essentially, because 2021 became one of their 3 best seasons, consecutive seasons. And so there are guys who got a lot better. And just looking at that, looking at the changes, there's a couple of teams to look out for this year, I think, that were middling or disappointing last year. Tampa Bay really took it in the shorts last year, but they added Wander Franco and Andy Kittredge to their bullpen and Shane McClanahan to he's their long reliever. But they got a couple of new pieces of Brandon Lau. Like there's a lot of new blood in Tampa, and because that franchise hasn't been around very long, there's room for improvement, right? So they got 4 new guys in 1 year. But the one that I'm really looking for is the Brewers might go nuts this year because they were average last year. But what really sunk them was their pitching. I mean, their ace was Chris Bosio. And no offense to Chris Bosio. But if you're going around the teams, you're looking at aces and you're like Roy Halladay, Sandy Koufax, Cy Young, Satchel Paige, Chris Bosio, Randy Johnson. And you're like, ooh, I want Bosio on my squad. I just don't know I want him throwing on opening day.
Record scratch, right?
Right? But their rotation was so shaky that, given the great year their rotation had in Major League Baseball this year, they added Woodruff and Peralta and Burns all into their starting rotation. And then when we mentioned it, a diehard Brewer fan said, "What about Pete Vukovich?" And to be honest with you, I've never heard of Pete Vukovich. Like, I got started getting interested in baseball in about 85, 86. So your guys that didn't have fantastic or Hall of Fame careers that peaked in that 1980 to 85 period, that's kind of my blind spot for baseball. And that's where Vukovich lands. And he had this great little spike in his career. And sure enough, he's good enough to make their rotation. I think he might be their sixth starter. But for like their top six starters, four of them are new. Wow. So all of a sudden, Chris Bosio don't look so bad when he's pitching third or fourth in the rotation. So let me share the screen here to make sure I've got the right image visible. There we go. So this is what we did last year. Fans who've been with us will notice this or recognize this. And I've added, look at how beautiful this is.
Wow, look at that.
So one of the big advantages, we've upgraded the software to the newest version. And one of our only complaints about the last version is it would give us this nice standings as the homepage, basically, when you open the program, except the NL West was always missing. Just not there. And it had a big empty spot where that National League West is right now. And we've emailed with the guys there at DK Sports, and they get back to you right away, and they're great, but they had no idea how to fix this. So we really had trouble showing off standings in the best possible way because of some glitch in the system kept the NL West out. So what we've got here is the look at our teams so far this season. And again, small sample size, right? Let's not schedule any parades or jump off any buildings over 5 games. But these are our 32 teams, and here's how they did in week 1. And so it gets a little more interesting as we get more weeks under our belt because you can kind of see the trend of hot and cold by the yellow and pink that you have over here. One thing I did for reference is under the teams, the ones that are bolded are the division winners from last year. So you can see of our division winners, if you look over here at the standings, I think it's just Chicago, the Cubs, San Francisco, who won the whole thing, and Birmingham, who ran away with the South. Those are the only division winners from season 1 who are in first place, 5 games in to season 2. And I like that. I like the variance of that. And it could be small sample size for sure, right?
I think we can go ahead and call the AL South right now.
I'm going
to go out on a limb.
I'm pleased that the Knights compete. They went all the way to the Eternal Series because, and if you're new to us and you say, well, who's Birmingham? The Knights? When we put together our Eternal Baseball League, we wanted it to be 32 teams, not just 30. And not 31 because that's hard to schedule. We wanted there to be every team playing every day other than Fridays. And we knew we wanted to bring the Expos back. So one of the teams was 100% ready. And then we first looked at making an all-time Washington Senators team. The Senators had 2 different stints. Their first team left to become the Twins. And then like the very next year, they got an expansion squad. It's kind of what happened with the Cleveland Browns in the NFL. And that Senators team wasn't any much better than the previous bunch who had stunk for 50 or 60 years. And they ended up moving to Texas and becoming the Rangers. So in the end, even the combined forces of both Senators franchises made a team that just got their teeth kicked in almost every night. And it just wasn't competitive. And it didn't do any good to have a non-competitive team. That now that Washington has the Nationals, I don't think there are a whole lot of Senator fans left anywhere. And that is a baseball statement, not a political statement. But you can take that how you want. So what we did, we took the best players from the history of the Negro Leagues and gave them their own franchise. because those guys never got the chance to play against major league talent every night. The guys who did kind of grandfather out of it once baseball became more inclusive. Your Monty Irvins, your Satchel Pages, Jackie Robinson, of course. They got to do it for part of their career, but not all of their career. So we put together the Birmingham Knights based on the best players of the Negro Leagues, and they're really good. I mean, really good. And they ran away with that South. And that's the only bummer of the way we set this up is we told you already that expansion teams have more trouble competing. And, Tampa, yeah, sure, that's an expansion team. But Texas and Kansas City are too. They just expanded a little further back. So they have, I would say, more of a chance to compete, except they've combined to go 0-10 in our first week. So
let's get Frank White in there, Mark.
We might have
it's time to make the call.
Yeah.
Let's get Buddy Biancalana and Frank White.
Or get dressed up in our Riot Squad armor and go tell Hal McRae he's not playing today because he's off to a bit of a rough start. But anyway, just looking at the week that was, your teams that were really good. So 4-1 or 5-0 are the Arizona Diamondbacks, and two of those games, I think they split two with the defending champion Giants already. Birmingham's undefeated. The Red Sox are really good. And they were good last year too. But only one team makes it out of the East, and the Yankees edged them for the title last year. Cubs are good. They were a playoff team last year. The Rockies are off to a rough start. We'll see them tonight in our game of the week. Kansas City, rough start. The Angels and the Dodgers. The Dodgers opened against the Giants, and the Giants ran away from everybody last year. But if you looked at their head-to-head record, they were, you couldn't believe how dominant they were head-to-head against the Dodgers. It was basically San Francisco and the Dodgers had the same record against everybody else. And then San Francisco won like 17 of the 19 matchups.
Wow.
So they ran away. They beat the Dodgers by like 11 games or something. And so it looks like a runaway. And really what it was just a one-on-one pummeling. And so the fact that the Dodgers, I think, opened up with a sweep to the Giants maybe doesn't bode well for this year. Angels are off to a tough start. Their team is largely unchanged, other than Ohtani getting a gigantic stat bump from putting in the 2021 stats. The Brewers are red hot, and they've got a brand new pitching staff, so that might stick. The Mets are good, 4-1. Not much change for the Mets, but they underachieved last year, so maybe we'll see more from them. The Yankees are off to a good start, yet still chasing Boston. Oakland is off to a rough start, and they won the West, last year. So we'll see how that shakes out. The Mariners are off to a good start, which is actually last year, I think they went 8-2 the first 2 weeks and then just fell in the toilet. So we'll see if they have a longer hot streak than 2 weeks in Seattle. The Rangers are off to a rough start, and the Nationals. And the caveat for the Nationals, because we kept the Montreal Expos, the Nationals only have access to players who've played for the Nationals. So that means they've got 16 seasons to pull from. And even though they still have Bryce Harper and Max Scherzer and Steven Strasburg and Anthony Rendon, and like anybody who's been a National is still there, they're still at a tremendous disadvantage. So I'm not going to make fun of them right here, but that's kind of how it's shaken out. So I like that there's some variance from season one. We hope to see more of that as the season rolls on. So let's see here. If I shrink this, we are into the schedule here. So let me roll over here to December 2021. Here we go.
It's exciting. Let's make some bad base running decisions.
Well, we get the Mets 4-1 against the Rockies 0-5, and we were somewhat under 500 as a duo last year. So,
nobody really remembers that.
Yeah, it was last year. Maybe we're getting a 30% bump this year.
It's like when you go to Vegas and your wife asks you how it was, and you just, I broke even. My other friend was slightly down. Either one did quite well.
Hey, I wouldn't bet on anything we're doing here. Oh, and we do have. It's nice to see the league leaders over here, and every day we publish basically this scoreboard with the filled out scores. Individual game box scores go on our message boards, which are divvied up by team. So if you're looking to find out how your specific squad did today, you can always find that at eternalbaseball.com in our forums. We've also added an injury report down in the general discussion forum, so you can see who got hurt and when they're expected to come back. And we also have our league leaders, so you can see who's leading overall. And here's a little look at it. And good to see Yaz way up high, and good to see Gwynn off to a hot start because he was hitting like 250 for the first 2 months, and it just felt wrong on some level.
Didn't feel right at all.
Yeah. And the first monkey in the wrench here in wins, and this happens with some of the vintage pitchers who want to pitch every day. So Bob Ewing started on opening day for the Reds and got hurt. So Noodles Hahn stepped up and threw a complete game. I think it was a win in game 2. And then realizing that the rotation was now short, he pitched a complete game in game 3 as well. So hats off to Noodles Hahn. Maybe
Iron Man.
Hahn. We'll try to make sure that doesn't happen again. Like Ed Morris for the Pirates, who's the first great left-handed pitcher in baseball history, was on pace to throw like 470 innings last year. So we sat him down for July because, come on, like that's 3 pitchers now, right? So good for Ed Morris. But anyway, this is where we're at today. We will be the New York Mets facing the Colorado Rockies for the first game of Monday's schedule. So here we are. Now, one thing I saw, and we'll see, we can mess with this as we like. The way I've got it right now, we're actually showing a small thumbnail of the player's face on the field, rather than just his name real small. So it'll look a little different. I want to test this out and see what Rhoda hasn't even seen this yet. I want you to tell me what you think because I can toggle it on or off. So here we are. Look at the frozen caterpillar on Davy Johnson's upper lip. Like
brings back memories.
Such a good look. So today, pitching wise, Seaver pitched yesterday, 122 pitches. So it'll be Doc Gooden today for us being the Mets. We're usually the home team for our game of the week, unless it looks like the home team's going to get slaughtered. Then sometimes we're the road team. But it's Doc Gooden and then our regular lineup versus right-handers because it is John Gray for the Rockies. So we go Carlos Beltran leading off, Michael Conforto next in left, Piazza catching, Strawberry in right, David Wright at third, Keith Hernandez at first, and that's part of Hernandez didn't get much playing time last year because Pete Alonso was drafting off his rookie numbers, which were so good. He didn't have a bad year this year, but he's never quite matched that rookie bit. So his numbers are down a bit. That gets Keith Hernandez a little more time. Edgardo Alfonso at second, Jose Reyes at short. And the way those were put together, the stats here are pretty good. We're facing a right-hander, so the OPS versus right. So the only guy out of the lineup we might want to get in would be
Nails.
Well, Dykstra actually got added. He's the new 26th man. But this is Mets Nails, the unenhanced version. So more of a defensive replacement than a 350, 35 homer guy that he somehow turned into in Philly. McReynolds is the only guy out, but the 3 guys above him the 4 guys above him are Piazza and 3 outfielders. So McReynolds just doesn't make it because he doesn't make it. I think these are the best possible guys we can have in, unless you see something different.
That's
I know it's
pretty
a bit of an eye chart, but all right. Now I'll warn you, I haven't figured out how to turn down the organist because the intro music's so loud. So be ready for it.
Boom.
So, and I guess view opponent. And it does this every time. This is a new glitch. Oh, it says we're over the pitcher limit. We aren't. And if you just say we're going to continue with it, they think it's okay. Yeah, it's fine. So, oh boy, here we go again. Okay, so Colorado's facing a right-hander, so they will be. Okay, so they're missing a catcher. What if their catcher's hurt? Normally it's Hundley or Ionetta. Oh, they just don't have a guy selected. So it looks like Ionetta is superior, and they're the same defensively, but Ionetta's better against righties. So we'll put him in.
It's a pretty good squad, man.
It's not bad.
Their pitching must just be terrible.
Yeah, I mean, when John Gray's your number 2 starter, I mean, he just got paid, so good for him. But okay, the computer's controlling it, so it's not going to let me put him in because we're not controlling it. But I assume the computer will plug a catcher in there. So let's go to the ball. All right, hang on here. All right, we're going to have to back out, but I can get this back. Wouldn't you know? Well, it is our first shot at this. I just have to close this down. Quit game, yes. And go with 2 human managers. And then we'll set that lineup. I'm not sure why he's not in there.
In the meantime, we'll play. What did TBS used to show? Like Roseanne rerun? No, not Roseanne.
Right.
Was it?
Look at this. We get ambient crowd noise.
There we go.
While we wait. So we just have to move along here. And this is a nightmare if you're not careful, because it always starts the schedule. The first games I see are from 2019, and they're ready to be played. And I don't know what happens if I play a 2019 game. I would assume it's not good for the program, but I got to move on ahead to make sure we're on December 6th, 2021. We will pretend like we're playing both teams, playing live with both teams. Play the game. Human and human play. Here we go. So for Colorado, we have John Gray pitching and our number 1 lineup versus righties. Ionett is in there now. I don't know why I did that. The opponent, yeah, it's fine. And we'll go with Gooden and the right-hand line versus right-hand line. Okay, that should work. Yeah, it's fine.
Good.
Welcome to Citi Field, where it's Colorado against New York. Colorado has lost 5 straight. John Gray gets the start for Colorado. He's made 1 start on the year and is 0-1 with an earned run average of 6.00. His first start against New York, he'll be opposed by Dwight Gooden for New York. He's made 1 start on the year, with no decisions and an earned run average of 1.93. His first start against Colorado. It's 56 degrees, wind speed 5 miles per hour, out to left center field. Pitching for New York, number 16, Dwight Gooden. Leading off for Colorado, first baseman, Todd Helton.
All right, so real quick before I make, well, first, do you like the little thumbnails of the guys?
Yeah, looks pretty good.
All right, I'll leave them be. Normally, I would pop them up to give you a look at them. I guess they do get bigger. It's Michael Conforto in left, Beltran in center, Strawberry in right, Keith at first, Alfonso at second, Jose Reyes and all of his necklaces at shortstop, David Wright at third, Gooden on the mound, Piazza catching, and Todd Helton leading off. And the first thing I'll
Rob
do,
had a pretty funny comment.
hang on, I had the wrong thing up. Right, exactly. Hogan's Heroes right now.
Hogan's Heroes.
Actually, somebody once said that TBS stood for the Beastmaster Station, which was pretty accurate. Okay, so I'm giving Colorado back to the computer. One thing I've found, and I'm trying to iron it out, the computer manager seems to stick with starters way too long. Like, I'm not talking about a judgment call, but like past their pitch count. So in a tight game late, if it looks like the pitcher's about to be out of gas, I've switched over and controlled him for a second, just to put a righty and a lefty up in their pen. And then I give them control back. And then sure enough, they're like, oh man, that guy's out of gas. And they'll put one of them in. So I'm trying to iron that out because you can kind of set parameters for what the computer manager does. And it seems like they're sticking with their pitchers a little bit past their pitch count, which is obviously not a good idea anywhere. Okay, so we're back. So here we are pitching to Todd Helton. What's the worst thing they could? Oh, and if you're looking at the numbers here, they show you two versions, real and replay. Real means this is their statistical baseline that we have added into it. It is not altered based on the modifier, because again, you can't see or alter the modifier. Replay is what they've done in the eternal baseball season so far. So replay is what's going on here. Real is what's the inputted numbers that this season is being based on. All right, here we go. Like, we're off and running.
This looks vaguely
number
familiar.
28, Nolan Arenado.
So a couple new things you may see pop up. It tells you what the pitch was and how fast. It's kind of cool. Unless it starts giving pitches to guys that never threw them, right? Like, I don't see a screwball from Dwight Gooden, but we'll find out. Over here, this is Helton's, or whoever the runner is, his percentage to steal the next base safely. And then H is if you want to hold the runner on or play behind the runner. So you can toggle that on and off. Bunt here, that's his rating from 0 to 10 on how good a bunter he is. Obviously, Arenado doesn't square up very often. The numbers next to the players are their defensive ratings on a scale of 0 to 10. And for the outfielders, the A with a number after it is their arm strength and accuracy. So you can see the Mets got a trio of good arms out there. We'll have to remember that later on. One of the other new things that popped up, and it surprised me, you can challenge. If there's a really close play, sometimes they'll give you the opportunity to challenge it via replay. So
I like it.
Just a couple of new tweaks this year that weren't on the last version. So here's Nolan Arenado. Singling to right.
Left fielder,
We're off and
Larry
running.
Walker.
Poor play by Reyes.
Shortstop, number 27,
No,
Trevor Story.
no shock to you Mets fans. Reyes didn't quite get to that ball. Trevor Story, current free agent. He's
There
going to
we
wait
go.
a while before he signs. Might be two. Just one.
Right fielder, number
How about
19,
another comment?
Charlie Blackman.
Oh, let's see here. That's a good point. All right. Next up, Charlie Blackman with less of a beard. I should probably update that photo since he's heat miser now. Normally, it just shows the last pitch of every at bat, but once in a while, we get a random foul ball in. I don't know why.
Drama.
I guess. Get there, Daryl. All right. Throw home. Out chance 28%.
It's opening day for us, right? Like,
Yeah.
let's try it.
Okay. And again, your risks are Piazza might not handle it. It might go wild, and the runners may move up as well. But 28, give it a shot.
It's like Vladimir Guerrero out there.
But if we cut the throw to second, the out chance is 39%. So there's two outs. We should get the out wherever we can, right?
All right, feeling it, man. Let's do it.
We're cutting that throw so we can get Trevor's story.
Hey,
Colorado,
did he score?
number
Oh, he scored!
55, John.
Oh, he scored before the throw.
Leading off for New York,
Too bad.
center fielder, Carlos Beltran.
So he got from third to home before we could throw from right field to second base. Oh, it was cut though. So
It was cut, yeah.
Right.
So that may have something to do with it.
All right, fine, whatever. That was an ugly inning. But Carlos Beltran,
Left fielder, number 30,
I'm not
Michael
a big enough
Conforto.
Mets fan to know what postseason it was. but there's some postseason where Beltran struck out to end the season, and he struck out looking. And that's all Mets fans remember, right? It's like Tom Glavine got torched in his last playoff start to end a Mets season. I think it ended a Mets season. And that's all they remember about Tom Glavine, right? Like, just dead to them based on those performances. Here's free agent Michael Conforto.
Oregon State Beaver, right?
Is he? I didn't know that.
I think he might have been.
So you don't like him?
Catcher, Mike.
I'm indifferent.
Yeah.
I wasn't one of those guys that had a, it was more of a Husky rivalry than a
like that whole
Ducks Beavers.
I'll pull. Brent and I are both Pac-12 grads, right? Oregon for Brent, ASU for me, and I get that whole pull for the conference thing, but I would never root for U of A. Like, come on, maybe against Kentucky or.
With the Beavers, they were, both the Ducks and Beavers were so bad for so long that even when the Beavers played pretty well, you're like, well, okay, it's kind of good for the state, I guess.
Well, they didn't really threaten U of O for the longest time, right? So,
not that the Ducks really threatened them much either. So.
I suppose. But for me, it can't be U of A, and it's the Huskies and USC are hard ones for me, right?
Stanford, man.
Stanford doesn't bug me. For USC, it was because I was in school, or I was just out of school when Pete Carroll was running this dirty program down there.
Gotcha.
And they play their fight song. You remember this? They play their fight song on every first down. And so when the Liner Reggie Bush teams would come to ASU, it was like that damn song was on loop.
My buddy went to a road game at Stanford basketball and said at one point the student body was chanting towards them that they said, we will employ you.
Probably true.
That and the tree. I mean, the mascot.
The
it's like,
is there a worse mascot in all of sports than that stupid tree?
Yeah. Anyway.
Terrible. All right. Back to
Piazza.
It. 2 outs for Mike Piazza, his Head and Shoulders hair.
Good looking man.
He's got quite a bit, but Burks is going sideways. So
center fielder, Ellis Burks.
Speaking of, and now Red Sox fans don't go nuts. How can you have Ellis Burks in Colorado? It's hard to make the Boston roster, right? Dwight Evans is in their inactive roster. So cool your jets. It's not that Burks is more rocky than Red Sox, but he can start in center field here rather than be inactive on Boston's roster. So that's how you get Ellis Burks, Colorado Rockies. Yeah, the Red Sox just added Jim Rice to be their 26th player. So
second baseman, number 26, DJ LeMahieu.
So Rob was thinking it was 2012 with Beltran.
Okay.
Just as
so here's DJ LeMahieu. And this is supposed to work. So let's see. So we want him to get a new pronunciation for LeMahieu. And you can do anything you want here, right?
Rotondi.
Wait.
Rotundi.
Sorry, I now have a blood feud with the computer. So.
No, but the second one's good, right?
Rotundi.
Not enough flourish.
All right, fair enough. It's obviously not Italian. But okay, so how are we going to type LeMahieu? L-U-H, La.
Hugh. Hugh is in like cutting wood. Hugh.
Yeah, May. Hugh?
Let's try it.
Lumeway.
Can you put like a dash? Can you put a dash? Is that?
I think it'll say dash if I put a dash in there. Hold on. La.
L-U-H.
That's not what we wanted.
L-U-H.
LeMahieu.
Better. It's better than LeMahieu.
LeMahieu, that's classic though. That's kind of part of our shtick now.
All right, we won't change it for now, but we can if we want to. So LeMahieu. Jose Reyes. It's right at him.
Is that a bad
Catcher, number 22,
You got it.
Chris Iannetta.
Iannetta. Oh, that's something for us to watch. Iannetta's got I think he has a rotten arm. So we might be
Right
able to
fielder,
run wild on
Daryl
today.
Strawberry.
Hey, Daryl.
Third baseman, number 5, David Wright.
Wow, Trevor Story's a 10 defensively.
First baseman, number 17, Keith Hernandez.
Seems a little generous if you're asking me, but we did a bit last season where we looked at who had the best overall starting defense, and the Rockies won. And when I think of the Colorado Rockies, I just think of 500 homers a game, and pitchers can't wait to get traded away. But if you look at their infield, Helton at 9, LeMahieu at 8, Story at 10, Arenado at 10, even with Tulowitzki at shortstop, it's pretty damn good. So they don't get enough, maybe because these guys most of these guys played together. Maybe not Story, but this infield could have happened, I think, or pretty close to it.
Pretty close, yeah.
Maybe with Tulo at short. But they can pick it, at least in the infield. So watch out. National League West.
Pitcher, number 55, John Gray.
John Gray.
First baseman, Todd Helton. Third baseman, Nolan Arenado.
I love this picture of Arenado because he looks like a badass. Look at the blood. And it's actually from a walk-off celebration. He got the bill of somebody's helmet, bopped him in the side of the head, right? Where the skin is real tight by the temple.
Wow.
So he's screaming at the fans, not at the fans, but he's way pumped up right here. And him just looking totally wild with blood coming down his face is such a WWE moment that I had to grab it. But no, he didn't.
He razored himself as he rounded third.
That's it, right? He didn't just win a fight. He just got, I guess, bill butted by an over-exuberant teammate. But still, a good look. And again, for people who are new, Arenado is still on the Rockies, even though he's signed forever with the Cardinals, because he's still played more Rockies seasons than Cardinals seasons. So when that shifts, we'll move him over and he can be more St. Louis. Although sometimes, like we looked at with Burks, with the older franchises, it's harder for guys to crack their active roster. And so if he wouldn't start for St. Louis, we would rather have him starting for Colorado and playing in the league than sitting in somebody else's basically minor leagues.
It feels more normal with him in Colorado too, doesn't it?
Yeah. And
at least right now.
I hope I haven't made too big of a deal of it because there aren't a lot of guys like that. Ellis Burks in Colorado, Arenado in Colorado, Matt Williams playing in Arizona because he would be buried on the Giants bench because they've got 100 years of third baseman to contend with. So there are a couple examples of that around Eternal Baseball, but not a lot. That's actually kind of rare. So, Nolan.
Strike 3.
Okay.
Second baseman, Edgardo Alfonso.
Strike 3.
Shortstop, Jose Reyes.
Now, Reyes is a great bunter, but we do have one down.
Let's bunt.
Okay.
And then we're still in second.
Oh, yeah. Another thing,
Just put it up there.
Iannetta is a 4 defensively with a 1 arm out of 10. So there are times when I've had a really good buncher up and I've tried bunting against like Johnny Bench and it never goes well. So, but I think we got a shot here. Run, Jose.
Pitcher,
He started
number
towards
16.
second there for a second.
Yeah. It's like an outfielder who takes the wrong angle. Like, if he hadn't come in on that, if Reyes hadn't have started towards second, I bet he would have had a real shot there.
That's right. We'll get Doc out and start off.
Doc wasn't a bad hitter, actually, but
Left fielder, Larry Walker.
They've kind of smoothed out the running towards first. a little bit in this new program. I've noticed.
Other than race, the only thing there is occasionally there's a really wonky looking play, and you can't tell what happened, and you just have to read over on the side. And almost always it's just fly out to left, but like the ball does something weird. So there's still a couple ghosts in the machine.
It hit a seagull.
I guess, right? Larry Walker got a lot of that, but all right.
Shortstop, Trevor Story.
Come to New York, Trevor.
Pumel!
Since
Yeah,
the Yankees have
any
sat out
scuttlebutt?
free agency.
Yeah.
No, Yanks have a couple prospects at shortstop that they like, and I think they're trying to keep salary down. So they didn't go fishing for any of the big guys, though Correa is still out there. The names I hear knocked around are gloves but no bats, right? Like Andrelton Simmons.
Really?
Or yeah, they might just want a get 'em by guy for a year or two until they think one of these two rookies might take over. So
Interesting.
we'll see. Ooh.
Did he get it?
Off the wall. So,
Right fielder, Charlie Blackmon.
all right. One out, first base open. Blackman's up, Burks and LeMahieu next. I don't think it does us any good to put a guy on or pitch. We can always pitch around a guy if we want, if somebody's just white hot. But Blackman's hitting 133.
Yeah, go. Let's go at him.
I think we want this out while we can get it, hopefully. Story doesn't even
Center
run
fielder, Ellis Burks.
on the arm of Carlos Beltran. All right, Ellis Burks.
Uh-oh.
Foul, I think.
Pumel!
Jaw right up the middle.
Rob has a free
Eastman,
agency
DJ.
update.
Limahua.
The Irizarry brothers are our friends of the program. Yeah, we could use him. We thought about putting together the actual Peanuts gang as a team. We should probably do something like that. Maybe they'll play the Indians from Major League.
I think King Kelly would be the 27th person on every team.
God, can't wait for him to try to bust into Chicago's lineup again. Hey, I can catch now. I can catch.
Yo, Skip.
For those of you who maybe new to the program, King Kelly is a good player from the turn of the century who can hit a little bit, and he's rated as like a 2 or a 3 at every position. So he's like a rusty Swiss Army knife, right? No good anywhere. But he kept appearing in Chicago's roster, and he's supposed to be in their inactive slots. So we respect him, if nothing else, for showing up like wearing a schnoz one day.
Dude, you just gotta slip a $10 bill right to the locker room attendant, right?
Right?
I just need that.
The door guard is like, "You're Sammy Sosa?" Yes, I am.
Here's $10. Give me that skeleton key so I can get in the back door.
He probably doesn't even leave the park for fear that they won't let him back in, right? He's doing a Costanza and just sleeping under his desk. All right, Ellis Burks at first, 2 down.
I love me some King Kelly, man. I gotta say.
Lee Mahua grounds out to Fonzie. Underrated Edgardo Alfonso.
Center fielder, Carlos Beltran.
Beltran, also a good bunter. But
Are you feeling it?
no.
I guess that'd be sacrilege. Yeah.
What's his numbers here? He's 29 homers, 104 RBI. Like, swing the bat, Beltran.
All right, if you want to
That's
lose,
what Mets
man.
fans want. Swing the bat.
Oh, whoa!
What happened? That's the weird thing with the ball.
Left
But
fielder,
He did
Michael
hit that one out.
Conforto.
If I'm the Rockies right now, I throw back to first base, tag the base.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Said it was a 401-foot blast.
I didn't actually watch the ball. I was watching Beltran.
Yeah, that was a little bizarre. And I assume they're going to get this fixed. They usually have a couple patches for it, so it looks a little wonky, but you could tell the sound and the angle when he hit it. You could tell that was going to go. So
Still think we
Good
should
for
have
you.
bunted. I think
Yeah,
still
right.
think we should have bunted there, but
probably should have
fine,
won it.
fine.
All All right, Michael Conforto. That one's a not quiter, I think.
Catcher, Mike Piazza.
Let me try.
No. Okay, fine. Just type in pizza, see what it says.
Piazza.
General Zod.
Pizza.
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 That's close.
We'll work on that.
The Rob's comment was perfect.
Right fielder, Daryl Strawberry.
All right, Daryl.
Oh, get
Legs
there.
it
He's
out.
there.
I think you got it.
Safe.
Oh!
Well, let's see. Can we challenge
Catcher.
that one?
Chris
You can only
Iannetta.
challenge when the window comes up. So
Mm.
the computer knows, I guess. All right, Iannetta. With your 4 defense and your 1 arm.
That's atrociously bad.
Pitcher, John Gray.
Girardi's in their minor leagues going, what I do? Come on. At least I call a good game.
That's like Brian Zimmerman arm.
First baseman,
Or Bagwell
Todd
at the end.
Helton.
Who you literally couldn't throw. Oh, we just nailed Todd Helton. Former football player.
Third
Probably
baseman,
not the guy to
Nolan Arenado.
That's not very good either. But Aaron Arenado. 2 outs.
Strike 3.
All right.
Third baseman,
Josh
David
Gray.
Wright.
Ball 4.
All
First
right, send
baseman,
him.
Keith Hernandez.
What, David Wright always seemed like kind of Captain America, right? Like just super played the game the right way and always smiling face of the franchise. But we've got him surrounded by that pit of vipers, the 1986 Mets, right? with no Gary Carter, who supposedly was, the lone paladin on that team.
right.
He's an expo. He's in Montreal in Eternal Baseball. So we've got
The rest of the team was chaotic neutral.
right. There's a chaotic neutral shirt you can buy online that says chaotic neutral might save your life, might steal your wife.
I love
That
it.
feels very 86 Mets to me. So between Orozco, Keith Hernandez, Lenny Dykstra, Dwight Gooden, Daryl Strawberry, at least we got Kevin Mitchell out of there.
I haven't heard anything on Jesse Roscoe.
I guess he was clean.
I mean, I've never heard any tales told on. Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, all right. So here's Keith Hernandez, who was the first. Was he the first spitter or the second spitter? I forget.
I can't remember. That's right. Rob was talking about
Baseman, Edgardo Alfonso.
volunteer football.
That's right. Oh, I thought he was always the backup. I guess I got that wrong.
That's interesting.
I think he made
talent,
the right
though.
career,
Holy
made
cow.
the right career choice. But Tennessee was really, a rolling program back then.
If you could play SEC football and be a Hall of Fame baseball player, that's pretty impressive.
Not too bad.
Left fielder, Larry Walker.
Larry.
Man, we're getting one hit by Jonathan Gray.
John Gray. And Larry Walker got all of that, thank you.
Oh man. I
Take
don't know
your
which
time, Larry.
which burrow that landed in. But
Blushing.
Shortstop, Trevor Story.
362. Actually wasn't as far as one of the early ones, but looked better. Where is Gooden? Over here is our pitch count. 77 thrown out of a max 130. So he's got plenty of arm left, but hasn't been a good run so far for Dr. K.
Right fielder, Charlie Blackman.
I suppose we should at least get familiar with what our options are out here in the pen. It's a pretty good pen. 3 lefties, John Franco, Jesse Orozco, and Randy Myers. And then 2 righties, Armando Benitez and Roger McDowell. Benitez actually has the best numbers of any of them. He was. I mean, people just remember him because he was just kind of a jerk, like to throw at people. He was a really good pitcher for several years. You got to look up if you've never seen it. Put in Armando Benitez, Tino Martinez in the YouTube search, because he hits Tino right in the back, right after somebody hit a back-breaking homer off him. And it's the best baseball brawl I've ever seen. It goes all over the field. It ends up kind of falling into the Mets dugout where nobody is because everybody's on the field. And everything is just starting to cool off. And in comes New York Yankee, Darryl Strawberry, like he got shot out of a cannon. And he gets a full-on right cross on Benitez, right above the ear. And then the whole thing fires up again, and they all fall into the dugout.
He just was like getting some, in the training room or something, and then finally saw what had happened. He just shot out the dugout.
Yeah, no, Darryl wasn't playing, I don't think. He was only a DH, I think, by that point. This is like 98, 99. Gotcha. But everything's cool, and he kind of circles the pile and then comes in at an angle. Outfielders got to play the angles. And nobody got a piece of Benitez until Darryl came in like a secret agent and went NWO on the Mets, I guess, and pow, right over the ear. Give that a look if you haven't seen it. It's a good brawl.
Rob mentioned he thought there. You can check out the comment there.
Maybe he is right. Maybe he was an Oriole, and it wasn't Yank on Met violence. Yeah, he's right. He was an Oriole. It's still good. He still deserved what he got. All right, Charlie Black.
Center fielder, Ellis Burks.
That's foul ball.
Foul ball.
So 2-2 to Burks.
Strike 3.
All right.
Shortstop, Jose Reyes.
All right. I'll give you the bunt here if you want.
Bunt him.
All right. Bunt for a hit.
We gotta get something going.
Go, dude. Don't run the second.
Dude, Ionetta's.
Pitcher, White. Good.
Man. I thought we'd steal 5 or 6 bases off Ionetta. We got one hit so far through 6 or in the 6th.
I love it.
All right. So Gooden's been shaky. Do we want a pinch hit for him here? We got a pretty good pen. We can probably patch together.
Yeah, let's pinch it. Let's get Hojo in there.
All right, well, let's get our bullpen warming up. They've been hit. They're set for right-handers. And actually, hang on. Let me do this the right way. If you look at Colorado, their next guy up, they go righty, righty, lefty, righty, lefty. So it's actually 3 of the 5 are righties coming up. So the Mets pen, we don't want to use Benitez. He's the closer. But we might. Orozco's got some good numbers here. 192 versus left, 226 versus right.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
All right, so we'll warm up Orozco, and we'll pinch hit somebody. So for the Mets against right-handers. Oh, well, it's got to be McReynolds, right?
Really?
Well, up to you. But McReynolds,
right.
Highest OPS against righties, 866. I would have no problem with Pete Alonso.
Are we going by BMI though? Like, what stat are we going with there?
This is ranked by OPS against right-handed.
What would the New York Post go with?
Probably Alonso. Alonso's got more power, obviously. Their actual numbers, let's see here. Batters, OPS. There we go, top to bottom. Yeah, so Alonso has 47 homers, 109 RBI. McReynolds is 28 homers, 82 RBI. So I think Pete Alonso's our guy.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, so Alonso for good.
Pinch hitting for New York, number 20, Pete Alonso.
Do us proud, Pete. That looks really good. Don't jinx it.
Dude. Should have bunted, but all right, Webb.
Pinch homers always
Center fielder,
make you feel
Carlos
all warm and
Beltran.
fuzzy, right? Like, of course he hit a homer. All right, so Beltron. I don't think we're bunting anymore on Ionetta. Certainly not with one out, right?
No.
Nah, Blackman's not moving fast enough. Oh, it's off the wall.
Left
I thought he
fielder,
had that.
Michael Conforto.
Here we
Not that I
go.
want to do it, but Beltron's 49% to steal third. But
I don't think
he's
you
in.
can.
He's in scoring position already, right? And we
Yeah.
only need 2 runs to tie this up. So
Oregon State, man. It's a done deal.
what?
Oregon State, man. It's a done deal.
All right.
Ball 4. Take your
Yeah, look
base.
at this. Pass the baton.
Catcher, Mike Piazza.
Pizza. Maybe.
Oh,
Look at Walker run.
Oh, did he do
Run,
it?
Walker. Oh, I caught it. All right. Beltron has an 86% chance to take third.
You feeling it? I don't know. Yeah, sure.
He's in scoring position already, and third base. He's not
I
gonna
assume
score
though,
on a
Conforto.
grounder.
Are we gonna move Conforto to? That's the big question, right? You got 2 people
I
in
don't
score
know if-
position.
Yeah, I don't know if Conforto goes, but Beltron definitely will. If there's a throw, I think Conforto would definitely go. Yeah.
Fundamentals aren't really my strong suit, Mark. So I'm gonna drop that in your lap, bro.
Given that Piazza's hitting like third or fourth, the next hitter must be great. I'd
you're,
rather.
you're the angel. I'm the devil. So you.
I'm the Sun Devil. I think I would rather not risk an out at third and let the next guy.
Hey,
hit.
Rob says go, man. I don't know, man.
Oh, we can put it on Rob then.
There you go.
All right, Rob. This is for you. Run.
Right fielder,
He's in.
Daryl Strawberry.
But Conforto didn't go. It's on you, Daryl. Good for you, Rob.
Way to go, Rob.
That doesn't have the distance.
Off the wall.
Second baseman, DJ Limahua.
Now pitching, Pete Alonso. Hold on. And where are we in the roster since this is National League? So I don't think we're double switching here because we have to take out Strawberry, Piazza, Conforto, or Beltron. I mean, unless we want to. McReynolds is almost the equal of Beltron offensively. But
Yeah, it's up to you, man.
I think we'll just leave it be. Orozco's not going to be in there that long anyway. I think he can only throw 30 pitches. So they may not even get to him. If they do, we'll pinch hit for him. It's fine. So,
His career is what I would be a dream career for my son. That's my goal.
Is he lefty?
No, but I'm gonna make him a lefty. That's
Yeah. Just wrap the ball.
tie his
in.
other hand behind his back.
Yep. Okay. So
His son, this is the way.
That whole backup quarterback, backup center, left-handed reliever.
It's like, bro, all we're doing is long snapping and
That's
throwing,
a long snap.
we're throwing 10 pitches a game. Here we go.
Pitching for New York, Jesse Orozco.
Orozco. Come on, Jesse. You're making us look bad.
Catcher, Chris Iannetta.
Well, at least Vianetta isn't hitting because he's a wizard defensively.
Pitcher, John Gray.
All right, John Gray's been pretty good, although he looked a little shaky last inning. Let's see if they actually let him hit.
Pinch hitting for Colorado, number 12,
Oh,
Troy Tulowitzki.
All right,
impressive.
Tulo.
Take key.
First baseman, Todd Helton.
Tulo needs to get my how to pinch hit video with Pete Alonso.
Take key.
We got help.
Pitching for Colorado, number 48, German Marquez.
Crowd
Third
was-
baseman, David Wright.
The crowd was really happy to see German Marquez.
The German.
Herman, I believe, but whatever.
I like the German.
Right? The Germans are coming. So they must think David Wright's going to do some terrible things.
I'm proud of
batting.
myself. In season 1, I would have done a bad German accent, but I've learned some self-control going into season 2.
Yeah, look, we're older and wiser. So it's possible we get to Orozco. I guess if we get a hit or two, we should start warming up somebody else.
I'd like to apologize in advance to when Sherry McGee
Right?
comes up later in the season, because I won't have that self-control with Sherry McGee.
Right, once we started getting on the Irish a little bit. Oh, we're off to a good start, Roto. Oh, go for 2. He's in there.
First baseman, Keith Hernandez.
All right, what are we doing here?
Well, Hernandez is a righty. It's 315 against righties. He's far better against righties. And we already used Alonso. So I think
Can he hit
other than
the German?
I was looking at pinch hitters, maybe.
It's Keith Hernandez's mustache, man. Like,
I don't mean.
Who else would you do, Kevin?
I'm just trying. I just want to take a look because I don't know anything. We have McReynolds to use at some point, but he's the only one better than Hernandez. And I gotta imagine if we use him, it'll probably be for Alfonso or Reyes at some point.
Gotcha.
Given Reyes can't bunt, so I think Keith's got his day in the sun here. Hey, move the runner over. Solid fundamentals.
That is great fundamentals.
Second baseman, Edgardo Alfonso.
Hitting 278 on the year. It's him and Reyes next. So
I think you just let's roll the dice.
I want to see who else we have. If we use one of those guys, I think Hojo plays a terrible short. Yeah, he does. 3 out of 10. Although Reyes is a 4. Reyes is a 4, so we're not benching Ozzy here. That's it. So we don't have another second baseman eligible right now. So Alfonso is safe. But Hojo for Reyes is a possibility next. Wait a minute. What am I talking about? If you look at their OPS against righties, Reyes is better than Hojo. So, so there's we would pinch hit McReynolds and then use Hojo as the defensive replacement. So don't get too comfortable with that bat, Jose Reyes. That's at least going to be a sac fly. Run right.
Oh, not even giving us a percentage.
Jose
I love
Reyes.
it. All right, we're hanging around, Webb.
Not bad. Better than we were a couple innings ago. Okay, 2 outs and Reyes. Do we let him hit or do we McReynolds here? We've still got the 8th and 9th, but
I think you have to bunt him here.
Do you want a third bunt? Or do
Third
you want
bunt.
to pinch hit?
Third time's the charm, Webb. I'm feeling it.
You're not feeling McReynolds in here?
You feel it? It's in the ether. It's speaking.
I'll put it on you if you want.
Let's do it.
Bunt?
There's no way Ionetta's throwing him out.
I love that the corners aren't even in yet because they haven't needed it, right?
Yes, we're on it.
All right.
Boom.
Oh, it looks better because there's nobody there. But Reyes
is he going to run? Is he deciding to run here?
Where's he going?
Third baseman, Nolan Arenado.
All right, Orozco has thrown 17 of his 30 pitches, so we're probably going to need somebody here.
Dude, that was painful to watch. What just happened there?
The animation on that's ugly. So if he gets, let's say he gets Arenado and we let him pitch to Walker because it's lefty, but we're going to need a new hitter or a new pitcher for Story and on down, and those are all righties other than Blackman. So we're looking for somebody who's good against right-handed pitching or right-handed hitters. And that is, if we're not using Benitez, I think it's Randy Myers, 229. And a lower ERA. It's Randy Myers.
Fair enough.
One of the nasty boys. The least nasty, but he was still on the squad. Okay, so we got our pen working, and now it's Orozco Arenado. Looks like he booted that.
Left fielder, Larry Walker.
Yep, error. You won under the glove of Roscoe. So Larry Walker. Yeah, probably his last hitter. We could get 2 though, maybe. Nope, just 1.
We have a new comment.
Shortstop,
Guy said, I
Trevor
think there has to be a
Story.
double switch with Hojo.
Ooh. Let's see what we got. So Myers is ready, so he's definitely coming in. And yeah. Because we got the pitcher leading off next inning. So
just do Reyes, yeah.
yeah, for Reyes, and then with Hojo, that works perfect. Thank you very much, Guy White.
Yeah, appreciate it.
So this National League stuff's hard. So bullpen, put in Myers. Yes. Any location, Myers is going to go here.
Pitching for New York, Randy Myers.
And then absolutely Hojo right here.
Lenny Dexter at shortstop.
Right. I'm sure Dykstra thought he could do it. Wasn't lacking for confidence.
Did you follow any of his investing career?
I just remember I liked Dykstra a lot when he was a Met. When he caught everything, he was just dying to play. And
hard-nosed, man. Hard-nosed player.
Man, but what a psycho. Although at least late in his post-career, he owned up to the steroid use, right? And he just said, look, I wanted to be the man. I felt the pressure of that contract. And and I'd like to say that
right? I mean, everybody's like, okay.
I'd like to say I wouldn't do it again, but I probably would. Okay. Yeah. Like if a guy, I'm going to not make up a guy, but if a guy like, I'm trying to think of a guy who just barely held on for a while, Chip Hale, right? If Chip Hale said without the needle, and again, complete random name and random speculation, without that, I'm in AAA, right? Sleeping on a mattress on the floor. Instead, I had an 8-year big league career, and lots of guys were doing it. So I wasn't trying to get ahead. I was trying to level the playing field. Understandable, at least, right? So, anyway. Sorry, Chip Hale. I just pulled the name out of the ether.
Casting his versions.
Chip Hale fans bailing off the broadcast right now, right? All right, so hang on. Before I went on my Chip Hale tangent, Arenado is second, 1 out. Trevor Story up. Randy Myers.
Ball 4.
Not getting it done, Randy.
Right fielder, Charlie Blackmon.
Get there. There we go.
Center fielder, Ellis Burks.
Ellis Burks.
Ball 4.
All right.
Second baseman, DJ LeMahieu.
Do you have anybody up?
We don't, but we probably should, right? All right, our last two are Franco and McDowell. So that gives us a lefty and a righty up, saving our closer. Get it, Edgar.
Can of corn.
There we go. Great play.
Shortstop, Howard Johnson.
Now, Randy Myers can throw a ton of pitches. I think he can throw 70. So since he got out of that, I probably got to sit these guys down or they'll burn out throwing through the inning.
Okay.
You can do that once, and they're like, okay, no big deal. Not Myers, I meant, not Franco. But if you bring a guy up a second time, you better get him in the game. You can't just yo-yo in and out of the pen. All right.
Look at that Hojo photo. Love it.
Thanks again to Guy White.
Yeah.
I think we would have got there, but no guarantees. But yeah,
no guarantees.
Double switch with Hojo. So here we go. Hojo. Well, I think they got him. It's a weird animal.
Center fielder, Carlos Beltran.
Come on, Carlos. Run out of daylight here. Ooh.
Oh, a lot of cheering.
Oh, it's dying, though.
Did he get it?
Left fielder, Michael Conforto.
All right, Michael.
Ball 4.
Do we finally test?
Mike
Ooh.
Piazza.
Here you go.
85?
85% to steal second.
No brainer.
Conforto didn't get a good jump. So now he's back at 41%.
Wait, it just randomly said he didn't get a good jump?
Yep, it said the first delivery to Piazza, Conforto didn't get a big lead. So he didn't go.
Let's
And now he's back at first at
out of here,
41.
man. We can't put up this
Hang on, wait a
malware.
minute. Do we have anybody we can pinch run? Since obviously Conforto's not up to
Kevin McReynolds.
McReynolds had a streak where he stole like 23 consecutive bases without being caught, but it was over like a year and a half. Right? He was totally opportunistic about it.
Everybody read the post story and was like, there, he's not going.
Right? All right, hang on here. Batters by stolen bases. We got Dykstra with 29 steals.
Oh, dude. What inning or is this eighth inning?
Eighth inning.
So who would who's gonna play? Who's gonna play short though? Or no? Who's gonna play left?
It's Conforto.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
You want Dykstra in there?
Yeah. Let's do it, man. This is fun.
All right.
Dykstra is the new runner at first.
And he's 86%.
Oh.
I love that we told Conforto to steal and he didn't, so we pinch ran for him. Get in here.
I was like, get out of there.
That is such a sophomore year junior varsity type move, right?
For sure. That's a middle there. Get out of there.
Here goes Lenny. Off and running. Oh,
come on.
Chris,
Who is this catcher?
baseball god. Oh, a one arm. 86%.
It's like Johnny Bench and Ian Etta did that whole like Nicolas Cage face-off thing.
So bad. And Ionetta leading off the inning. I wonder what's going to happen. Oh, we're missing a left fielder. Yeah, I know. He's ashamed of himself. We can't find him. Lenny Dykstra. Where'd you go, Lenny? Oh, here he is.
That was the equivalent of some of his options trading advice.
Right? Welcome to New York, Lenny. I'm sure they didn't boo you at all.
Strike three.
Yes.
Pitcher, number 48, German, Marquez.
Now, this is sometimes when the computer gets it dead wrong. So from the Colorado perspective, they got to be going to their closer for the ninth, right? Up 4-3.
Yeah.
So even though, and Marquez has been okay, but not great. So I think we're going to do executive privilege here. Because once in a while, the computer will get this wrong. So we're going to take control. And we're going to grab their bullpen. And their closer is Houston Street, I believe. Yeah, so we're going to get him warming up because he's not. And just in case they're entertaining a lefty, we'll give him Brian Fuentes as well. And then if we're Colorado against left-handed Randy Myers, lefty again, OPS against lefties, Matt Holliday.
No brainer.
So just because it's what they should do and what they might have done anyway.
This feels so fair, though. Do we need to do this?
Hitting for Colorado, number 5, Matt Holliday.
And now we give them control back now that we've given them better options to work with. Just because I don't want it to go wrong on the first broadcast.
So much sportsmanship.
Randy Myers, Paladin, baby. Randy Myers, Matt Holliday. Hey, watch.
First baseman, Todd, Helton.
Eric Young is the new runner at first.
Young is the new runner at first.
He's only 23% to steal, so
that's strange. That guy was a speed burner.
I think it's they got a lefty on the mound and Piazza behind the plate. So decent throwing catcher and a lefty pitcher. So stay put, EY. Todd Helton got quite a bit of that, but not enough. Oh, Daryl!
Did he get it?
Third baseman,
he dropped
Nolan
it.
Arenado.
Strawberry goes back to the track. He can't hang on. Bye.
Okay.
Arenado back to the mound. He goes to second, back to first. 2, I believe.
All right, here we go.
Houston, Street.
All right, so Houston Street's up with Fuentes ready. We've got Piazza, Strawberry, Wright. And just to take a look ahead of time, batters against Houston Street's right hand. Okay. So OPS against righties. McReynolds is slightly better than David Wright, but not a lot. And power-wise, since we're down 1 run, Wright is 30 homers, 116 RBIs, and McReynolds is 28 homers, 82 RBIs. So I don't think McReynolds is getting a sniff here unless maybe we get a runner on. So Mike Piazza. It's a Terranado.
Right fielder,
Got a
Daryl.
comment about Randy Myers.
Oh, let's see here. More known for being a Red. I will agree with you there.
Yeah,
but
I feel that
the
too.
Reds, and this is where we get into it, the Reds team is a lot harder to make. They got 100 years of pitchers to pull from. So Randy Myers can't make the Cincinnati bullpen, but he can pitch here in New York. So sometimes that's how it works. I hope people don't think that there's a ton of that in the league because there really isn't. But there are probably 10 or 12 guys who are on a team you wouldn't expect them to be on. Steve Garvey, great example. How do you remember Steve Garvey? Dodger, right?
Yeah.
Can't make the Dodgers.
Fraternities.
Yeah, right. Yeah, my dad, Steve Garvey. Garvey can't make the Dodgers, but he can make the Padres, right? So once in a while that stuff pops up. But I agree with you. When I think of Randy Myers, I think of him as a Ray. Actually, I think of him as an Oriole, getting ripped apart by the Yankees in the playoffs. But that's another story.
That was kind of a low blow.
I'm just here to help. Daryl.
Strike 3.
Third baseman, David Wright.
We're down to it. David Wright. Salvage it.
Strike 3.
Oh.
Oh, man.
We did say we felt bad for those 0-5 teams, so we're just
The final
here to
score
help.
from Citi Field, Colorado 4, New York 3. John Gray is the winner. He is now 1-1 on the season. Dwight Gooden is the loser. He is now 0-1 on the season. Houston Street gets the save, number 1. Larry Walker hit home run number 2 on the season. Carlos Beltran hit number 2. Pete Alonso hit number 1. Time of the game, 3 hours, 6 minutes.
Wow. Felt like 4 hours.
Wow, look at Houston Street stuff.
Yeah, that's the one thing to watch. If you haven't seen this before, at the end of the game, every pitcher, every game has a stuff rating, which can be double negative, a negative, nothing, or a plus or a double plus. And that's just how good their stuff was on that individual day. So if a good pitcher's getting rocked, when you see the box score at the end of the game, he's usually got a minus or a double minus. And that's real baseball. You hear pitchers talk about it all the time. I couldn't find my curveball today, right? Or I couldn't locate my fastball. So Gray was supposed to have a rough day. He actually did fine. Marquez was average, I guess, but Street had good stuff. Gooden did not have his best stuff, but Orozco did, and Myers had good stuff as well. So that's a final, and our MVP of the game is Larry Walker for his performance today. So it took a little more explanation than normal because we wanted to get new folks up to speed with how the game looks and how the game works. We also had to restart to get Ionetta into the lineup, which stabbed us in the back, but fine. Normally we'll get out in an hour, but it was the first show of the year. So, but thank you for joining us. We'll have a new game of the week next week. And again, it's kind of the cadence of how it works. We have the Eternal Baseball podcast on Sunday nights, and our series run Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. There's an off day for the entire league on Fridays, and that's when we send out the Eternal Baseball newsletter. And you can sign up for that on our homepage at www.eternalbaseball.com. The newsletter is completely free. Everything on the site is free. We have team-specific message boards where you can stay up to date with the daily box scores from your team. We put the daily scoreboard, the division standings, and the league leaders on our homepage. And we're also on Facebook as well. And we're on Instagram. So there's lots of ways you can interact with the program. We saw some new faces in here tonight. We appreciate that. And we're really happy to be back for another season. So
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
yeah,
That was
you know,
fun.
hey, we lost. That's normal, but we were competitive, and that's not always there. So we'll try to find a better team to beat up a worse team next week on another thrilling edition. Oh, hold on, let me time it right.
Bye, everyone.
The Eternal Baseball Podcast.